Why not quitting is the real strategy. Do you remember during COVID, while a lot of bad things were happening, there was something else going on at the same time, but people don't really talk about it. Some businesses were actually doing extremely well. Of course, many didn't survive. The rules kept changing, uncertainties were everywhere, and a lot of business owners simply couldn't withstand that level of pressure. They shut down not because they were bad, but because they ran out of room to breathe. But then there were companies that didn't just survive, but grew. Some people say they were lucky, others say they got funding, some believe they simply started at the right time. And yes, that was true for a few of them, but what most people missed was that many of the businesses that boomed during COVID didn't actually start during COVID. They had already been around for a long time. They weren't planning for a global crisis or to scale. They were just doing something right without realizing it. They just stayed longer. Most people think that the hardest part of business is starting. I don't think that's true. Starting is exciting, you have energy, motivation, and nothing much to lose. But staying, now that is hard. Especially if you're not VC funded, not chasing hyper growth, and building something that needs to support your life. When you're bootstrapped like me, growth doesn't look great. It looks slow. Sometimes you can't even see it because for most of us who started with no external fundings, we think about growth in a very linear way. You put in the work, you improve a little, and over time things get better. And that is true. But I believe every business has potential, but that potential only unlocks when the right combination is met. It's like a locker. No matter how big or small it is, there's always a combination that opens it. Now, the problem is you never know when you will hit that combination. It could be this year, it could be next year, or it could be 3 years from now. But when it happens, things stop feeling linear and growth suddenly becomes exponential. It's whether you are still around when the moment arrives. Recently, we went through a company valuation, and on paper, I could sell the company today. But if I stay, there are three possibilities. First, the company might grow at the same rate as how it has been over the last 7 years. Or we could go out of business. Or something might click. And if it clicks, the growth won't be incremental. It could be 10 times, or it could be much more. I have no way of knowing it. That uncertainty used to scare me, but now it's one of the main reasons I keep going. When things feel slow, when progress feels unclear, this is how I ground myself. I remind myself that the goal isn't to win fast. The goal is to still be here, still building, still learning, still improving. Because most of the time, the people who look successful in hindsight weren't the smartest or the fastest. They were the ones who stayed long enough for things to finally work.